Hello, it's me, Dino. I'm right here with you, and tonight I'll walk beside you through a peaceful valley where gentle sauropods move like slow clouds. You don't need to do anything perfectly, just listen, breathe softly, and let your body know it is safe. Over the next 2 hours, we'll wander without hurry, and the world will unspool into quiet. If you drift into sleep at any point, that's perfect. I'll keep the path for you. Let's begin by making your body comfortable. If you're lying down, let your shoulders melt toward the mattress as if warm sunlight were smoothing them out. If you're sitting, let your spine lengthen just enough to feel supported, then soften everything that doesn't need to work. We'll set a simple pace together. Breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Longer out breaths tell your nervous system that there is no rush. Again, in, slow and easy, and out, even slower. If your mind slips away, that's okay. Just return gently, like a leaf floating back onto the water. Ahead of us, evening stretches across a Cretaceous plain. The last streaks of daylight dissolve into lavender and rose, and a small moon waits patiently to take up its watch. In the new coolness, plants release their clean scents, fern and conifer, moss and damp soil. A breeze slides over the grasses and touches your skin with calm fingers, the kind that say, "I'm here, and everything is all right." You and I step onto a narrow path scored by broad, shallow footprints. The impressions hold thin mirrors of skywater, and when your shoe brushes one, the reflected clouds ripple and settle again. Far off, insects begin their evening choir. Their chimes are delicate and certain, as if the night hums with tiny bells. There's a brook somewhere to our left, and it speaks in little consonants, glug, hush, tick, like a language of patience. The sauropods are coming home from the river. We see them first as moving silhouettes against the soft horizon, long necks raised like living arches, tails tracing balanced curves through the air. Their steps are decided but unhurried. Each foot finds the earth carefully, the way a careful hand sets a bowl upon a table. You might expect thunder from such size, but their weight becomes ceremony, and the land receives them with a hush. Breathe with me, just once more. In through the nose, as if the air had traveled across sweet grass to reach you. Hold a moment, not a tight grip, just a pause where everything in you can say yes to rest. And exhale through the mouth, a slow fog across a mirror. Your jaw softens. Your tongue finds a heavy, comfortable place behind your lower teeth. Your eyes don't need to work so hard, let the muscles around them loosen like laces untied. We approach to a respectful distance. The nearest of the giants turns an eye toward us. It is dark and still, reflective like black water under stars. No concern, no hurry. Just presence. The animal exhales, and you feel the sound, more than hear it, moving through your own chest cavity like a low, steady drum. Without thinking, you match it. Your breath lengthens to meet theirs, big, tidal, slow. Let's do a body scan while we walk beside them. Imagine gathering the day's noise into a small pouch at the top of your head. Tilt that pouch very gently and pour everything down like sand, past your eyebrows and cheeks, past the hinge of the jaw, into the throat where it thins and spreads. Let it continue, trickling through the collarbones and shoulders, into the long bones of the arms. If your hands still feel like they're gripping something, you can let the sauropods hold it for you. They are very strong, and they do not mind. Twilight becomes night. The first stars appear with the gentle certainty of lanterns being lit along a long, familiar street. One sauropod raises its head and seems to taste the constellations. Another swings her neck low, urging a smaller one forward, a quiet nudge that feels like a hand, warm and sure, on your shoulder. The youngster's steps are careful, tail moving like a paintbrush as it adjusts balance. You smile, or perhaps you only feel the shape of a smile relaxing your face. The path leads us over a shallow ridge where the wind brushes the grass flat, then releases it so it springs up in a dark wave, a sea of green moving nowhere in particular. Somewhere behind us, the brook widens into a set of quiet pools. In the closest footprint, water gathers a portrait of the sky. Orion is rising there, lines faint and friendly, as if a familiar friend has taken a seat just for us. A single leaf lands in the pool, rotating with the slow dignity of a planet, tracing gentle ringlets that wrinkle the stars. You are safe here. You can lie down in the tall grass or continue standing, and the night will keep you either way. If you want, place a hand over your heart and a hand on your belly. Feel the two horizons of your breath, the upper ocean rising and falling, the lower ocean responding in a smaller, faithful tide. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. If counting feels like too much, you can let the sauropods count for you with their steps. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause. Nothing complicated. Nothing urgent. Ahead, the scent of resin grows richer. We've reached a scatter of ancient conifers, their trunks ribbed with age. Sticky golden beads glisten where the bark has opened, and the moonlight makes each bead glow like a tiny lamp. The giants pass between the trees as if entering a cathedral, necks rising, tails lowering, pace slowing. I press my palm to one trunk. It's still warm where the day stored sunlight. Through your fingertips, you might feel something steady climbing into you, the old patience of wood. Let your breath widen to make more room for quiet. Imagine the inside of your chest like a room with large windows, all of them open. Air moves in and moves out. You do not have to push or pull it, the world uses you as a doorway, and that is enough. If a thought returns, about tomorrow or yesterday, give it a chair by one of those windows. Let it sit there comfortably until it decides to leave on its own. You don't have to escort it out. You're hosting, not managing. The juvenile sauropod has found a low crown of fronds. Lacking the adult's reach, it stretches a little and huffs in frustration. The tall one leans her neck, pinning the branch into an easier angle. There is chewing, slow and rhythmic, tear, chew, pause, swallow. The pause matters most, because it teaches your heart that empty spaces are safe. Your own pauses grow longer, not held, not rigid, just roomy, like doorways between rooms that never close. We move nearer the river meadow. The ground becomes springy and sweet-smelling, alive with sedges and tiny white flowers that release a tea-like fragrance. The herd spreads to graze, tracing calm arcs with their necks, painting invisible circles into the night air. You match them, step, breathe, pause. Step, breathe, pause. It's the simplest dance in the world, and you already know every step. If you like, you can imagine that each exhale has a color, a soft, pearl gray mist that leaves your mouth and drifts outward, dissolving into the air. With every breath, the color fades more quickly, until the breath is simply clear and quiet. Inhale through the nose, cool and gentle. Exhale through the mouth, warm and easy. Your ribs remember what it feels like to move like this, slow and unhurried, even when you're not thinking about them. A frog speaks once, then again from the shallows. Somewhere upstream, the river drops over a low shelf and makes the sound of fabric being smoothed by hand. Fireflies wake, older cousins of the ones you know, and sketch punctuation in the air, commas that invite you to rest for a moment, periods that invite you to end a sentence gently and begin another with a softer voice. The night grows articulate with peace. We come to a natural seat, a rock warmed by the last of the day. Sit if you wish, I'll sit too. Feel how the stone returns its warmth to you without asking for anything. The tallest sauropod wades into the river, where moonlight stretches along the surface like a path. Water curls around her ankles, pleating itself in shining folds. She lowers her head and drinks. The sound is almost nothing, a private conversation between mouth and water. You can imitate it by taking a small sip of air, as if through a straw, and letting it slip down gently. If you notice your jaw clenching, unhinge it slightly and let the tongue rest heavier. If your hands are tense, imagine them resting on the enormous, warm side of a sleeping sauropod, the skin tough but patient, the breath beneath it steady as a tide. Your fingers will curl into a natural, loose shape, like leaves settling into their own weight. Let's soften the attention in your face. The forehead smooths. The muscles around the eyes unspool. The cheeks hang, pleasantly unimportant. Your ears listen only for kindness. Imagine a small dimmer switch in the middle of your chest and turn it down one notch. Everything stays intelligible, it just becomes gentle. Down another notch. A little darker, a little quieter. Down again, until the room inside you is shadow soft and welcoming. The herd resumes its walk, and we follow. Above us, the Milky Way lifts like frost drawn up from glass, delicate, silver, immaculate. The river answers with its own ribbon of light, a parallel constellation moving at your feet. For a stretch of time, there's no need to measure it, the two rivers are enough, the one above, the one below, both encouraging your breath to lengthen like them, easy and continuous. If a memory arises, picture it as a small boat set on the upper river. It slides along the star stream until it passes out of sight. You don't need to follow it. You're here with me, with these calm giants, and the night is large enough to hold everything you are not carrying right now. The stars do their work without your attention. Planets draw their ellipses. Comets scribble and vanish. You are allowed to do less. We reach a meadow where the grass is pressed flat by seasons of resting. At the center stands a lone conifer, older than weather, perfuming the air with clean spice. The herd arranges itself in a soft arc, the youngest near the middle. There is space for you at the edge, clearly included, respectfully distant. Sit again, or lie back. Feel the earth rise to meet you. Feel how it knows your exact shape and accepts it without commentary. Now a slower breathing pattern. If you'd like, inhale for 5, hold for the length of a smile, exhale for 7. On the exhale, imagine a door opening in your back ribs, and the breath steps out into the night to look at the stars. On the inhale, the breath returns, bringing the cool scent of fern and a few bright pinpricks of sky. Practice this once or twice, then stop counting and simply be carried by the herd's immense, patient rhythm. The juvenile sauropod. Moonlit river walk and deepening calm. The night grows fuller around you, and the herd begins its quiet procession along the river's edge. You rise and follow, each step an easy echo of theirs. The sauropods move like continents, patient and inevitable, and you feel yourself belonging to their rhythm. No longer an observer, you are part of this migration of calm. Moonlight has lifted itself above the valley wall, a pale lantern scattering silver across the river. The surface shivers, broken only by drifting logs and the ripple of distant tails brushing water. The herd wades shallowly, each movement pulling mirrored waves that expand until they kiss your boots. The cool reaches you with gentle fingers, carrying the scent of minerals and moss, a clean perfume that asks nothing of you but to breathe. Inhale slowly, feel your chest expand, your ribs spread open like gates. Exhale more slowly still, letting the breath slip away as if poured into the water. You watch it dissolve, as if the river itself is breathing with you, slowly, steadily, endlessly. The path bends into a grove where tall conifers hold the moonlight in their needles. Their trunks are wide enough for 3 people to stand arm in arm. Resin gleams faintly where bark has cracked, and the air hums with the old sweetness of sap. High in the canopy, nightbirds stir. You hear wing beats like paper being turned, each one measured, calm, complete. A branch creaks, long, deep, reassuring, as though the forest itself is shifting into a more comfortable position for sleep. You place your palm on the nearest trunk. It feels warm from the day's memory of sun. The heartbeat of the earth seems to rise up through your hand, steady, unhurried. It tells you there is no need to rush, that the forest keeps time in centuries, not minutes. Your own pulse answers, slower, more spacious. With each beat, your body sinks deeper into rest. The herd has spread along the riverbank, browsing low trees and tall fronds. Their tails sway like pendulums, marking time in great arcs. You realize you are walking inside a clock made of living giants, and each swing tells your body, slower, slower. The world will keep turning, and you can simply rest. The smallest sauropod pushes through a tangle of ferns, its hide brushed with silver. Its eye catches yours, a deep, endless dark reflecting stars. No judgment, no question, only recognition. The juvenile steps closer, its breath rolling warm across your arms, like air stirred from a hearth. You lean your weight into calmness. The animal nudges a branch your way, as if offering you a taste of fern. You smile, decline softly, and watch as it crunches with a rhythm almost like chewing lullabies. Beneath your feet, moss grows thicker. It yields like velvet, springing back after each step. The air cools further, carrying dew. Somewhere nearby, a frog sings a slow, 3-note song, pausing long between verses. Each pause is longer than the last, a growing invitation to silence. In that silence you feel your breath deepen once more. Let your shoulders settle. Imagine them melting down into your ribs, leaving your neck unburdened. Let your hands dangle loosely, each finger as heavy as a stone smoothed by river water. Let your eyelids weigh just enough to remind you, you could close them now, if you wished, and still follow the story with ease. Your body is readying itself for the long drift into sleep, as naturally as leaves folding at dusk. The herd begins to cross a shallow ford. Water parts around them, glowing silver where the moon touches. You follow into the shallows. The water wraps your ankles in liquid coolness, cleansing without demand. Each step makes rings that race outward, touching rings made by sauropod feet. The circles overlap, expand, merge, an endless geometry of belonging. You are inside their pattern now, part of the ripples, part of the night. On the far bank, a meadow opens wide. Fireflies hover low, painting soft constellations across the grass. Their glow pulses in rhythm, bright, dim, bright again. You feel your lungs matching them, filling, emptying, emptying. A natural synchrony that asks no effort at all. Breathing has become as simple as glowing. You lie back in the grass, watching the sauropods loom overhead like moving towers of stone and sky. One lowers its neck, nibbling a crown of leaves directly above you. The sound is slow, deliberate, a tear, a chew, a swallow, a pause. The pause is the most important part, for it teaches your heart how to wait. You find yourself waiting too, longer between breaths, longer between thoughts, a widening quiet inside. A breeze passes through the meadow. It carries the scent of pine, fern, and a sweetness you cannot name. Perhaps it is the pollen of ancient flowers, perhaps it is simply the perfume of night itself. It drifts across your face, down your chest, and into your lungs, telling your whole body, sleep will come easily here. Above, the stars have thickened into a river of white fire, the Milky Way, bold and tender at once. You imagine the sauropods were born beneath these same stars, centuries stacked into millennia, all under this sky. Their steady breathing links you to that immensity, a lineage of calm that stretches far beyond your lifetime. For now, though, it is yours to rest within. The juvenile lies down near you. Its massive body settles with the sound of earth adjusting to new weight. You feel the vibration through the ground, gentle as a cat's purr magnified into continents. It sighs once, a long exhalation that brushes across the grass and into your bones. That sigh becomes your lullaby. If a stray worry comes, picture placing it on a leaf, setting it afloat in the silver river, and watching the current carry it away until it dissolves into moonlight. Repeat as often as needed. The river has infinite patience. The herd quiets further, some lying down, some standing half asleep. Their tails curl like protective walls. Their bodies form a circle that includes you. You are inside the safest fortress imaginable, a living ring of guardians whose only weapon is calm presence. You feel their acceptance seep into you, steadying every part of your mind and body. Your eyes close without effort. Darkness is velvet, carrying you in its folds. Sounds blur into one another, river, leaves, breath, stars. Your body feels suspended, lighter yet anchored. There is nothing to do but rest. And so you rest, walking further into the night, though your feet hardly move. But the walk continues, gently, into a forest corridor where moonlight falls like silver ladders through the canopy. You rise again and follow the herd into this living cathedral. The trees stand so tall that their crowns vanish into shadow, but between them, shafts of light pour down like blessings. Dust motes, pollen, and faint mist swirl together, catching light until the air seems full of stars at your height as well as above. You breathe it in, tiny galaxies drifting into your lungs. A great sauropod ahead brushes its flank against a tree, shaking loose a rain of needles and dew. The scent of pine floods the night, grounding and sweet. You inhale it deeply, filling every fold of your lungs, and exhale with a long sigh that seems to belong to the earth itself. The sound makes the juvenile glance back at you, curious, and for a moment you feel as if you've joined their choir of breath. The path narrows into soft loam underfoot. Roots rise like waves, but each one guides your foot gently rather than tripping you. You walk slower, pausing often just to feel the hush. The forest is alive with quiet industry, a moth tapping its wings against bark, a beetle rolling its treasure through the leaves, unseen creatures making small declarations of presence. All these tiny sounds fold into the larger silence, a reminder that rest and activity can coexist, like dreaming and breathing at once. Ahead, the river bends into a still pool, perfectly round, bordered by reeds that sway like a choir of tall grasses. The sauropods approach, lowering their necks to drink. You kneel at the bank and trail a hand in the water. It is cool, smoother than silk, carrying faint reflections of stars. When you touch, the stars scatter, then return. Your reflection joins theirs, and for an instant, you feel as vast and endless as the sky. One sauropod exhales across the pool, sending ripples that rock your reflection gently back and forth. You smile, letting the rhythm carry you. Breathing now feels effortless, like being rocked by the water, like floating in infinite calm. You could drift forever in the sensation, and perhaps you do. The night deepens further. Clouds move across the moon, dimming its light, and the forest glows instead with the patient lamps of fireflies. They weave spirals and arcs, tiny lanterns that escort you through the darkness. You follow them without thought, guided like a pilgrim by these luminous guardians. Each glow leads you to the next, and with each step, your body softens further into rest. The herd halts in a clearing where ferns grow chest-high. They lie down one by one, massive forms folding with impossible grace. The sound is like mountains sighing, an orchestra of settling. You choose a place near the juvenile, who stretches its neck along the earth like a winding path. Its breath warms the air beside you, a steady tide in and out. You mirror it, and soon your breaths are synchronized, two beings sharing the same rhythm beneath the same stars. Let your jaw slacken. Let your spine rest heavy against the ground. Feel the earth holding you, ancient and patient. Each blade of grass is a cushion. Each sound of night is a lullaby. Each breath is a bridge between you and these beings who know only how to move slowly and live peacefully. In this circle, nothing can disturb you. And still, the night has more to give. You notice faint glimmers in the grass, dewdrops catching starlight, each one a tiny universe. You lean closer, eyes soft, and it feels as though you could step inside those droplets, shrinking into a dream where entire galaxies rest in beads of water. The illusion is tender, fleeting, but it leaves behind a certainty. Peace exists in even the smallest corners of the world. Somewhere deeper in the forest, an unseen stream begins a lullaby of its own. The sound is light, silvery, threading through leaves and echoing off trunks. The herd answers not with voices, but with stillness, the kind of quiet that acknowledges music without needing to add to it. You close your eyes and let the sound of water braid itself into your thoughts until even those thoughts unravel into softness. This is only the second step of the journey, but already the world has taught you what you need most: how to slow, how to release, how to belong to peace itself. And as the night deepens, you will walk on, carried not by effort, but by calm itself. Forest canopy and night creatures. The herd does not linger long in the meadow. When they rise again, it is with the grace of continents lifting themselves from the sea. One after another, they extend their necks toward the forest beyond, as though answering a silent call. You rise too, feeling your body attuned to their rhythm now, no longer separate, but a companion in the slow pilgrimage of peace. The trees ahead are immense, their crowns woven into a roof that captures the moonlight and scatters it into shifting ladders of silver. You follow the sauropods into this living cathedral. Each trunk stands like a pillar, wide and ribbed, older than memory. Between them, bands of light pour down, illuminating dust motes and threads of mist. In that light, the air itself appears full of stars, as if the heavens have descended to walk beside you. Your feet sink softly into loam. Moss pads each step, cool and forgiving, springing back after you pass. Roots rise like gentle waves but never trip you, they guide your steps, suggesting paths without words. A sauropod ahead brushes its flank against a tree, shaking loose a soft rain of needles. The scent of resin floods the air, grounding, earthy, familiar. You inhale deeply. In through the nose, hold a beat, and out through the mouth like a sigh too tired to carry weight. Overhead, nightbirds stir. One flutters from branch to branch, wings sounding like paper turned gently by a hand. Another calls with a low whistle, answered distantly by its mate. Between calls, silence blooms, deep and reassuring. A branch creaks somewhere in the canopy, long, deep, like the forest settling into a more comfortable position for sleep. As you walk, let's soften the body further. Begin with your face. Imagine each muscle melting one by one, forehead, smoothing like wax, eyes, heavy lids descending but not closing, cheeks, dropping into neutral weight, jaw, unhinged slightly so the tongue rests like a pebble on river sand. Notice how the face no longer feels like a mask, it is simply part of you, resting without effort. Now the chest. Feel the sternum open like a window. Inhale, let cool air drift in, exhale, let warmth flow out. With each breath, your ribs widen like doors swinging inward, then close gently without force. Picture the lungs as vast, calm lakes, no turbulence, only the slow rising and falling of water when wind passes. Lower, the hips release. Any tension stored in them drips down your legs like warm rain. Knees soften, calves lengthen, ankles uncoil. Imagine your legs as roots, not rigid, but gently extending into the moss and soil, held by the earth without needing to hold themselves. Each step is a conversation, earth receives, you release. The forest grows denser, yet not darker. Fireflies drift among the trunks, weaving their light into delicate constellations. They pulse in rhythm, bright, dim, bright again. Without thinking, you find your lungs matching them, inhale with brightness, exhale with dimness, a synchrony effortless as sleeping beside the tide. The sauropods continue in solemn silence. Their massive bodies move like shadows of mountains. Every few steps, one exhales, and the sound is a deep bellows that vibrates through bark, through soil, through your bones. You catch yourself swaying slightly to that rhythm, as if rocked by invisible waves. You allow it. Swaying is safe. Swaying is natural. Listen closer. The forest hums with countless microsounds, a beetle rolling treasure through leaves, a moth tapping wings against bark, a droplet falling from canopy to fern. None of it demands attention, yet together they compose a symphony of peace. The herd accepts it. You accept it. All is included, nothing is too small to belong. You pause as a juvenile sauropod leans low to investigate a pool of moonlight. Its breath stirs the mist, scattering it like fabric shaken out on a breeze. You extend your palm, not to touch, but to mirror. The warmth of its exhale reaches you, a soft wave carrying the scent of chewed ferns and cool water. You let that breath enter your lungs as though you borrowed it. Inhale with the giant, exhale with the giant. Together. Deeper into the grove, the canopy parts just enough to reveal a patch of sky. Through it, you glimpse the Milky Way, an endless silver river pouring across the dark. The sauropods lift their heads as if to greet it. You tilt your face upward too, and for a moment you feel your breath rising into the stars, returning as starlight entering your chest. The path narrows, funneling you between two ancient trees whose roots clasp like intertwined fingers. Passing between them feels like stepping through a doorway. On the other side, the forest floor glows faintly with bioluminescent fungi, pale green lanterns scattered across the ground. The light is soft enough to soothe, bright enough to guide. You step carefully, noticing how each patch of light welcomes your presence. Now, release the spine. Imagine it unwinding from the base of your neck to the tailbone. Each vertebra, a pearl on a string, settling into alignment. Your back no longer holds you rigidly, it is suspended, as if invisible hands cradle it. The relief spreads outward, shoulders dangle, ribs float, pelvis rests heavy but supported. You are weightless and grounded at once. The herd halts at a shallow stream. They drink one by one, necks dipping in graceful arcs, reflections shattering the water into galaxies. You crouch and trail your fingers in the current. It is cooler than silk, smoother than glass. The stars ripple, scatter, return. When your hand rises, droplets cling like jewels, then slide free. Each drop feels like a thought released, leaving only emptiness behind. Close your eyes a moment. Hear what remains, the low rumble of sauropod breath, the trickle of the stream, the tiny percussion of insects tapping leaves, the silence binding it all. Notice how silence is not empty, it is full of presence, a container holding every sound tenderly. When you open your eyes, the juvenile has lain down beside the stream. Its body settles with a seismic hush, earth adjusting to new weight. You feel the vibration through your soles and shins, through your spine, until it steadies in your chest. Without meaning to, you've synchronized again, heart to breath to earth to herd. The adults form a protective arc around the younger one, their silhouettes vast against the broken moonlight. You realize you are within that circle too, included without ceremony. Safe. Completely safe. Your eyelids lower halfway, heavy with reassurance. If you close them fully now, you could still follow the story by feel alone. Let's slow everything 1 degree further. Inhale through the nose for 4, exhale through the mouth for 8. Let each out-breath be a soft release, as though your body were untying knots made of air. After a few rounds, stop counting. The giants will count for you with their steps, with their sighs, with the quiet rise and fall of their massive chests. A breeze threads through the canopy, brushing your cheeks like cool hands. It carries the perfume of moss, pine, and damp stone. You let it wash your thoughts clean, carrying away anything unneeded. Imagine those thoughts as dry leaves scattering across the forest floor. The breeze picks them up, swirls them once, then tucks them into the roots where they will decompose into nourishment. Nothing wasted. Nothing heavy. You lie back on a cushion of ferns. The fronds fold under your weight without complaint, shaping themselves to your body as if they were waiting. Above, a constellation appears through a gap in the leaves. It looks like a ladder, rung by rung, reaching higher than sight. Perhaps it is an invitation. Perhaps it is simply there. You decide you don't need to climb tonight. Just looking is enough. The juvenile sighs in sleep. The sound is long, slow, like wind drawn through a cave. It brushes the grass, brushes your skin, brushes your very bones. Each layer of you answers, loosening, sinking, surrendering. The herd shifts slightly, arranging themselves into a more complete circle. Their tails overlap gently, weaving a wall of calm around you. Nothing can reach you here. Not fear, not demand, not urgency. Only breath, only night, only safety. Your mind drifts between worlds, half awake, half asleep. Thoughts arrive as images more than words, stars floating like lanterns in sauropod eyes, dew glittering like scattered coins, a path stretching endlessly but never asking you to walk faster than calm will allow. You hover in that liminal space, and it is perfect. If sleep wants to take you now, let it. If not, remain here with me, breathing, listening, belonging. Either way, you are carried. Either way, you are safe. This is the 3rd chapter of our walk. Still more paths await, fern gullies, moonlit shallows, meadows that glow with fireflies. But for now, you rest in the circle of giants, your breath aligned with theirs, your body heavy and free. Meadow of fireflies, star mirror river, and the soft descent. The sauropods lead you out of the tall forest as if guiding a lantern through a curtain. Branches thin overhead, moonlight gathers itself back into a single bright coin, and the air opens with a meadow's quiet exhale. Before you spreads a wide, dew-bright field bordered by the slow river and ringed with low hills like pillows placed by a careful hand. And everywhere, closer than breathing, fireflies drift and glow, rising from the grass like tiny stars that chose this earth as their sky. You pause at the meadow's edge and feel night wrap you with a more generous blanket. The air is tea-cool and fragrant with crushed mint, damp hay, and the soft spice of pine carried from the trees behind you. When your foot presses into the grass, the blades spring back with a whisper, one among 1,000 whispers that together make the hush we call peace. The herd fans out and lowers their heads to graze. Their movements are silhouettes of patience, a neck's slow arc, a tail's measured pendulum, a forefoot testing the ground before committing weight. For a time that has no clock, you simply watch them against the river light, gentle midnights drifting through deeper midnight. Every few breaths one of them exhales, and the sound is a bass note you feel in your ribs more than hear in your ears. You lengthen your own breath to match, in for 4, out for 6, then in for 5, out for 7, until numbers dissolve and only rhythm remains. Let's invite your body to descend another level. Imagine a tiny elevator inside your chest labeled, down to quiet. With the next exhale, press the button. The doors slide shut softly, the elevator lowers. Shoulders loosen and sink. Press the button again. The elevator glides, your belly softens, releasing any last bracing. Press once more. The lift reaches the floor of your hips, and they widen like warm clay, easy and generous. One final press, and the doors open into a large, dark room. The sign above says, rest. Fireflies answer your arrival with slow punctuation. A cluster flashes in a crescent, like a smile. Another pulses in a line that looks, for a heartbeat, like a sentence that reads, be still. You don't need to read it. Stillness is fluent in you already. A breeze crosses the meadow and carries the lights a little higher. Their glow is not bright enough to keep you awake, it is the brightness of breathing, the kind the body forgets it knows until night teaches it again. The juvenile sauropod wanders near, knees angled in that careful way of the very large and very young. It pauses, sways, and lowers its head until its eye is level with yours. You see yourself reflected there, framed by a constellation of fireflies. There is no judgment in that look, no test to pass. Only a wide, patient acceptance, as if the animal is saying, you are allowed to be as slow as you are. You bow your head without quite meaning to. The giant answers by exhaling, and a warm tide washes the small muscles at the back of your neck. Something in you releases you from trying. At meadow center the river bends into a broad, glass-smooth pool. Tonight it is almost perfectly still, interrupted only by the occasional ring where a night fish kisses air and returns. The moon, the hills, the quiet crowns of the grazing giants, all of it lies on the water in luminous pieces, like a mosaic that moves when you breathe. You walk to the bank and sit on packed earth, cool and solid. The soil remembers sun and keeps a memory of warmth for you. It offers that memory without asking anything back. Let your hands rest loosely on your thighs, palms open, fingers uncurling like new ferns. Let your mouth soften at the corners. Imagine the inside of your cheeks getting heavy, the back of your tongue settling like a stone in a clear pond. And let your eyes half close until the firefly light doubles and becomes a soft haze, enough to see by, but mostly to feel by. Across the pool, one of the adults steps into the shallow margin and stands without moving, a living pillar. Water wraps her feet in slow rings, and the reflections of stars nod in agreement around her. She doesn't drink, she is practicing stillness, and you take the invitation. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is life at its most untroubled pace. In this pace, your breath finds its own level, as rivers do. A frog begins a metronome song from the reeds, 3 notes, an unhurried rest, then 3 notes again. Between each verse the night opens like a door you could walk through. The door leads to nothing but softness. There is no task behind it, no conversation waiting. You walk through anyway, because you can, and the room is simply the same meadow, the same river, except dimmer and kinder. Your body likes it here. Stay as long as you want. Now we'll sweep through the body from crown to toe, a final scan before drifting. Crown, a cool breeze opening a small window at the top of the head. Forehead, smooth as poured milk. Eyebrows, 2 small birds that have folded their wings. Eyes, aware but idle, watchers on a calm harbor. Nose, air gliding in like silk, out like fog. Lips, a door left slightly ajar for easy passing. Jaw, unlatched. Throat, a warm hallway, free of traffic. Collarbones, twin shelves holding nothing heavy. Shoulders, stones that someone has lifted off and set gently beside you. Upper arms, rain-soaked twigs, heavier now, happy to rest. Forearms, rivers at low tide. Hands, nests. Chest, a tide-pool that rises and falls without concern. Belly, a field after harvest, vast and unburdened. Hips, bowls of warm water balanced and calm. Thighs, deep loam. Knees, quiet hinges. Calves, ropes slackened at last. Ankles, gates left open. Feet, wide leaves on dark water. Toes, a row of little moons, each with its own faint glow. If in this moment you feel the edges of sleep touching you, like a blanket reaching up rather than down, you can let it cover you. If not, there is no rush. The meadow does not measure you. It only keeps you. A light mist begins to lift from the river. It drifts low across the grass, cool on the skin, slightly sweet, as if the water were exhaling the taste of stars it has held all night. Fireflies float within the mist like embers in cold smoke, tiny lanterns lost and happy to be lost. The mist curls around the legs of the giants. Their silhouettes become softer, their edges blurred, their breaths visible as slow-moving ghosts that enter and leave their vast chests. The tallest sauropod raises her head and releases a sound from the deep well of her lungs. It is not loud. It is the opposite of loud, a tone as big as the valley and as gentle as a hand smoothing a blanket. The sound reaches you like a wave moving through stone, and all the little tensions that didn't know where to go find a place to go. They step off the pier of your shoulders and sink into dark water where they become quiet fish. Beside you, the juvenile has lain down. It folds its legs beneath its body, curves its tail along the ground, and lets its neck settle in a long, relaxed line. The giant blinks once, twice. Fireflies settle on the grass around its cheeks like a crown assembled by patient stars. You feel the smile in your face again, not as a performance, but as an instinct, how the body smiles when it recognizes home. Now the river gives a small gift. A breeze passes along its surface from upstream, and the water gathers itself into slow ripples. The moon breaks into 1,000 bright coins, traveling toward you in layered lines. When the first line touches the bank, it lays light across your shoes, then your shins, then your hands. The sensation is as if brightness had a temperature, not warm, not cold, simply present. You breathe out, and your breath seems to glide along those ripples all the way to the far bend. Imagine a thought you've been carrying, a small, persistent one. Maybe it was useful once, maybe not. Set it carefully on one of those bright coins. Watch as the river carries it away. It does not sink or fight, it goes because everything here is allowed to go when it is ready. Another thought, another coin. Another. The river has room. You have room. A night bird lands nearby with careful, dry-footed steps. It tilts its head and regards your quiet shape, then resumes its private hunt among the reeds. The fact of its presence is enough. You do not need to name it. You do not need to learn its song. To be near another life, calmly, is sometimes the only instruction needed for rest. Somewhere far off, the hills trade murmurs with the wind. You cannot make out the words, and there are no words anyway. The conversation is pressure and release, approach and retreat, whether reminding the land that they are old friends. The meadow accepts this too. You accept it without noticing you have accepted it, and that is the simplest kind of acceptance. Lie back, if you haven't already. The grass makes a cradle from your shoulders to your heels, cupping the body where it asks to be held and stepping away where it wants air. You feel individual stems along your calves and lower back. Their details are clear and then not, like memory inside a dream. Above, the fireflies make new constellations that only exist for a breath or two. You watch those brief skies bloom and dissolve, and somehow that teaches your heart the comforting truth that nothing needs to last to be enough. We will travel now only in breath. In for 4, like lifting a velvet curtain. Hold for 1, like standing at a balcony to look at the view. Out for 8, like lowering that curtain into perfect darkness. Repeat once, twice, and then let the counting fade. The body knows the way without numbers, the way rivers know the sea. The adults have begun to lie down as well, 1, then 2, then 3, until the meadow is bracketed by mountains at rest. Their tails overlap in slow, protective curves. Their necks settle like long paths the moon can stroll along. From time to time, a leg shifts, or a great eye blinks. These are not disturbances, but confirmations that life continues even in perfect quiet. You are safe within the circle of their being. The mist thickens for a while and then thins, as if the valley is breathing too. With every thinning, more stars appear in the river. With every thickening, their reflections grow faint and dreamy. You find that you like both, clarity and cloud, sharp and soft. You are made of both, and neither is wrong. If any part of you still presses for effort, offer it an image, you, small as a seed, tucked into warm soil beneath the grass. Above, the world moves slowly in light and dark. Around you, roots continue their old conversations, trading sugars and water and news of rain. Nothing is asked of you. Your only task is to be here and to become what you already are becoming, rested. After a while, the kind of while that cannot be lost, the breeze set, deep rest in the herd circle. The meadow has quieted into something deeper than silence. Fireflies linger close to the ground now, pulsing dimly, as though their little lanterns are growing drowsy too. Mist has thinned into a silver veil, and above it the stars shine sharper, rivers of light flowing across the endless dark. The sauropods, full from their grazing, begin to settle. One by one, they bend their knees with careful patience, folding enormous weight onto the earth. The sound is not thunder. It is the softest possible surrender, soil shifting, grass flattening, ground humming with acceptance. Their tails sweep into slow arcs, curving to overlap in gentle spirals. Their necks bow and rest, long as pathways, along the curve of their own bodies. In this way, they form a wide, protective ring around the meadow center, a living wall of calm. You are inside that circle. Without ceremony, without question, you have been included. The herd does not guard you with teeth or claws, their very presence is enough. Around you are bodies as tall as houses, as long as rivers, yet they breathe with the steady gentleness of sleeping children. The rhythm of their lungs becomes the rhythm of the night. Lie back, if you have not already, and let the earth take your weight. The ground here is softened by centuries of roots and moss. It cups your body naturally, supporting every curve, leaving no part unattended. Your head finds a hollow shape just for it. Your shoulders ease into cool ferns. Your hips sink into warm soil that remembers the day's sun. There is nowhere else to be. This is the safest place imaginable. The circle of sauropods exhales. The sound is vast but quiet, like bellows the size of mountains moving air across the valley. You feel it before you hear it, a low vibration through the grass, across your chest, into your bones. The herd breathes out, you breathe out. Their breath becomes your lullaby. Let's invite your body into its deepest rest. Begin with the crown of your head. Imagine a gentle hand smoothing across your scalp, releasing every small muscle. Your forehead melts like wax under a candle. Eyebrows lower into perfect ease. Eyelids grow heavy, lashes resting softly. Cheeks slacken. Jaw unhinges slightly. Tongue drops into comfort. Face, complete. Now the throat. Picture it as a hallway with no doors, only open arches. Breath moves freely, cool and calm. Each swallow is effortless, each exhale untroubled. The chest rises like a tide-pool, then lowers, then rises again. No storm, no urgency, only the slow lap of waves on a gentle shore. Each rib is a beam in this quiet house, strong and relaxed. The heart inside beats unhurriedly, steady as a drum keeping time with the herd's breath. The belly loosens. All its knots untie, one by one, like ropes slipping from their posts. The abdomen spreads warmly, expanding like soil after rain, ready to hold nothing but rest. Now the back. Feel it sink deeper into the ground, vertebra by vertebra, until the whole spine lies in conversation with the earth. Each bone supported, each muscle letting go. The earth says, I will hold you, and your body believes it. The hips open like bowls filled with warm water. Thighs grow heavy, solid as logs resting after travel. Knees unbend, calves unwind, ankles unclasp. Feet spread wide, toes uncurl, heels press softly into the soil. Every part of you is present, yet every part is dissolving into quiet. Around you, the sauropods shift slightly, a slow choreography of comfort. One rolls onto its side, sighing so long and low it becomes indistinguishable from wind. Another adjusts its tail, sweeping grass in a rhythm like waves against a distant shore. None of it disturbs you. Each sound is reassurance. Each movement confirms, life continues even in perfect stillness. Listen to the herd's circle. Breaths overlap into a great harmony, low, resonant, tidal. Each inhale draws air across the meadow like a breeze. Each exhale is a wave returning. Together, they form a music older than song, a lullaby written in the lungs of giants. Your own breath joins without effort. Inhale with them. Exhale with them. Soon you can't tell where your breathing ends and theirs begins. You are part of the herd, part of the circle, part of the night. A frog calls once from the reeds, then falls silent. Crickets soften their song into a faint thread. Even the river has slowed its voice, speaking only in murmurs. The loudest sound now is rest itself, the earth exhaling beneath weight, stars whispering above, giants breathing around you. If thoughts rise, see them as leaves caught in this great breath. They drift up, spin once, then settle back to earth, joining soil, forgotten. No thought is urgent here. None needs to be held. The juvenile sauropod lies closest to you. Its neck curves in a crescent around your place in the grass. Each time it exhales, a warm tide washes your cheek. Each time it inhales, you feel your chest lifted slightly, as if tethered to its vast lungs. You find yourself matching the rhythm without trying. Together, you are practicing the simplest language of trust, shared breath. Overhead, the sky deepens. Stars multiply until the whole firmament resembles a river of fireflies. The Milky Way arcs across in a band of silver dust. You imagine the herd has always breathed beneath this sky, thousands of nights upon thousands more, until the rhythm itself became part of the constellations. Tonight you are included in that lineage, folded into an eternity of rest. Now a final sweep for the body. Top of the head, loose. Eyes, softened. Jaw, unbound. Throat, open. Chest, calm. Belly, released. Back, surrendered. Hips, easy. Legs, heavy. Feet, spread. Every part of you at rest, nothing excluded. The circle of giants deepens into sleep. Their eyes half close, tails curl inward, necks rest heavy on earth. From within the circle, you feel as though you are resting at the bottom of the sea, surrounded not by water but by the immense calm of breathing stone. Time loses its shape here. Minutes and hours dissolve. Only cycles remain, breath in, breath out, stars bright, stars dim, earth holds, earth releases. You belong to those cycles now, unmeasured, eternal. If sleep comes, take it. If not, float here, half asleep, half awake, on the surface of calm itself. Either way, the herd will keep the circle. Either way, the night will carry you. This is the safe haven outside of time. A sanctuary older than fear. A cradle deeper than memory. You are home, inside the circle of gentle giants, carried by their unhurried breath into the threshold of dreams. The circle of giants has settled into the deepest quiet of night. The air is cool enough to carry a hint of stone, warm enough to soften the edges of every sound. Fireflies have dimmed to a scattered constellation near the ground, winking only to remind you that light still lives in small places. Above, the sky is vast and tender, a river of stainless dark where the Milky Way floats like frost adrift on midnight glass. You are already most of the way to sleep. Only a thin ribbon of wakefulness remains, loose and unknotted, as if a single thread joins you to the world of thought and will slip free when it is ready. Around you, the herd breathes in long, tidal measures. Their chests rise like rolling dunes and fall like rolling dunes, steady, certain, timeless. This is the final part of the walk, which is less a walk than a resting, less a story than a lullaby that repeats until it becomes the hush inside your own breath. Let your face go quiet first. No performance. No planning. The forehead forgets the day and smooths itself. The eyes soften in their warm hollows. The mouth loosens at the corners into the smallest smile, the smile of someone who recognizes a familiar home. The jaw unhooks. The tongue rests like a pebble at the bottom of a clear pool. If there is any leftover effort hiding in your cheeks, it melts on contact with the night. Now the throat, open like a corridor with lamps turned low. Breath moves through without hurry, cool in, warm out, as though walking itself down a long hallway toward a well-made bed. The collarbones are shelves that hold nothing heavy. The shoulders are stones that someone has already lifted and set gently aside. The chest is a harbor. With each inhale, the tide lifts the boats. With each exhale, the tide sets them down again, ropes slack and easy. Your heart keeps a pace the herd would admire, a patient drum, a steady lantern. When it beats, it tells every room of your body, all is well. When it rests between beats, it says it again. The belly is a field after harvest, wide, untroubled, quietly full of what it needs and empty of what it doesn't. The back is an old road that no longer needs to be traveled tonight, each vertebra settles into its soft landmark, and the whole map of you lies down. The hips are bowls filled with warm water that does not spill, even when you breathe deeply. Thighs are logs resting after the long float down river. Knees are hinges that have been oiled and put away. Calves loosen their braids. Ankles open their small gates. Soles widen like leaves on still water. Toes glimmer with tiny, private moons. Around you, a sauropod dreams. You can tell by the faint quiver of its flank, the soft huff of an exhale that ends with a harmless, voiceless sound. Its tail twitches once, drawing a curve in the grass that a stray firefly crosses as though it were a path. The juvenile murmurs in sleep, a sound so low it's more suggestion than voice, and nestles its jaw deeper into the cushion of fern. You can almost hear the dream, a river and a grove, a tall branch lowered by a patient elder, the little rhythm of tear, chew, pause, swallow. Even in dreams, the pauses teach you how to rest. We will travel now by breath alone, across a small sea whose waves are your ribs rising and falling. In for 4, like stepping into cool shadow. Out for 8, like a slow wave smoothing sand. Again, in for 4, quiet and quieter. Out for 8, longer, softer, farther. Then let the counting fall away. The body knows. The night knows. The herd will keep time for you. Somewhere, a thin silver cloud crosses the face of the moon. Its edge glows and then dims and then glows again as the cloud breathes past. The river answers with a matching dim and bright, bright and dim, until it settles into a perfect mirror. In that mirror lies the world twice over, the real sky and the sky the water remembers. You look once and then you don't need to look again. The image has entered you, the river will continue reflecting whether you watch or sleep. If a thought arrives, and sometimes one does, let it land in your open palm. Notice its shape without naming it. Now turn your hand over. The thought slides into the grass like a bead rolling from a string. It does not shatter. It sinks softly into the loam and becomes food for root and seed. Roots have great patience, they will turn everything into green by morning. A breeze comes with the gentleness of a good secret. It moves the grass around your ribs and brushes your throat with cool fingers. There is the smell of wet stone from the riverbank, and a sweetness like crushed mint, and beneath it all the clean scent of night itself, the perfume of distance and quiet. Breathe it in. Hold, not a hard hold, just a soft visiting. Breathe it out. Let the breath leave the way a guest leaves a late house, quietly, grateful, not needing to be escorted to the door. The great bodies around you make a ring, and within that ring time loses its angles. Minutes no longer have corners to bump into. Hours loosen their belts and sit on the grass. You are not inside a schedule here. You are inside presence. When the herd inhales, the ring widens. When the herd exhales, the ring draws closer, warm without pressing, protective without closing. If sleep wants to take you, it can pass through this ring without knocking. It is expected. It is welcome. Let us imagine a lantern floating just above your diaphragm. With each inhale, the lantern lifts a hand's breadth. With each exhale, it descends and grows dimmer, as if fueled by letting go. Inhale, the lantern rises. Exhale, it lowers, a little dimmer. Again, in, up, out, down and dim. Eventually, the lantern will set itself gently on the meadow floor and turn into a firefly. When it does, you will sleep. The night invents a music made of not music, the small editing sounds of insects, the soft pinching of reeds in a current, the separated syllables of a frog far down river, the nearly inaudible stretch of hide over ribs as a giant breathes. Layered together, these become a lullaby with no beginning and no end. You could enter it anywhere and rest. You could leave it anywhere and it would go on, unchanged, waiting for you to return. If a memory comes, let it come as an image without the weight of its old feelings. Maybe it is the color of a room at 4 a.m., or the sound of rain on a tin roof, or the exact way your name sounds in the voice of someone who loves you. Let the image hover above the river. The water will decide how long to hold it. When it is done, it will lay the image down on the bottom of the pool with the fallen leaves, luminous for a while and then part of the quiet floor. You are not required to carry anything else tonight. The herd carries you. The earth carries the herd. The sky carries the earth. And above the sky, the darkness carries the stars like careful cups carrying water, no spilling, no trembling. Let your attention grow heavy the way fruit grows heavy when it has ripened. It does not fall because it must, it falls because it is ready. The tree is not sad when the fruit lets go. The ground is not surprised to receive it. The air makes room. The night makes room. Your pillow makes room. Let go. A slow tide moves across your forearms, then your elbows, then the small angles of your wrists. It is the tide of warmth left by effort, leaving you now because it has finished its work. Another tide follows at the pace of your breath, washing your shoulders and neck, washing your chest and belly, washing your hips and thighs, calves and ankles and soles. When this tide recedes, it leaves behind not emptiness but space for sleep to pour into like cool water into a waiting bowl. The juvenile stirs, lifts its head a few inches, and then sets it down again with a whisper of grass. You catch the exhale that follows and ride it as if it were a small boat. Up and down. Up and down. Each time you rise, you see one more star. Each time you descend, the star becomes the soft shine beneath your eyelids. The space between seeing and not seeing becomes very thin. You could step through at any breath. Let us speak one phrase in the language of the valley, the language without words. Inhale, I am held. Exhale, I release. Try it once in your mind. Inhale, I am held. Exhale, I release. Again, softer, I am held. I release. And now it is only breath, the words dissolve like sugar. Sweetness remains. Far away, the hills trade a slow conversation with the wind. The subject is weather and memory and the small changes no one else notices. The river hums agreement between them. The forest listens, and the meadow does too, and the herd most of all. Listening is the last task we do together tonight, and even that is not a task. It is a drift. It is a being carried. If you are still awake enough to notice it, let a faint smile cross your mouth at the thought that sleep is already happening in pieces, in your hands first, then your feet, then your scalp, then your knees, then the long rope of your spine slackening section by section. The parts that remain awake are keeping a kind and quiet watch, nothing more. When they are ready, they, too, will close their small windows and turn off their lamps. You may picture a final scene if you like, the herd standing at dawn in some future morning, breath smoking gently in blue air, their shadows stretching over the grass like roads which no one needs to take. In that picture you are sleeping still, safe at the center, and the giants look down and understand that what needed to be guarded has been guarded. When you wake, whether then or sooner or later, the world will be intact, the river will still know how to be a river, and your breath will still know how to be your breath. But dawn is far away, and we are not moving toward it. We are moving deeper into night, deeper into ease, deeper into the simple, undeniable fact that you are safe. The circle inhales, wide, round, complete. The circle exhales, soft, warm, complete. Again, inhale, the ring widens. Exhale, the ring draws close. The pattern repeats until it is the only pattern that matters. A lone firefly lifts from the grass, brightens once, twice, and then glides into darkness where brightness is no longer needed because everything here has learned to glow from the inside. If you need a final invitation, here it is, whispered like a breeze passing over your eyelids. Sleep. If you drift now, the story will continue without you, turning its pages in silence. If you stay, the story will not ask for attention. It will be content to sit beside you with its quiet lantern until your breathing becomes the only sound. The river keeps its mirror. The sky keeps its stars. The meadow keeps your shape as if it were carved into the softness of the night. And the gentle giants keep their circle, immense, patient, unbroken. The last thing you feel is a long exhale moving across the grass, warm as a blanket pulled higher, and the last